Hello friends, welcome to Developers Tube channel. My name is Ismail Saudagar and today in this video we'll cover types of classes in C Sharp. So here I request you that please watch my video till the end so that you can see the practical example which I have given at last of my video. So the agenda is we'll cover types of classes in C Sharp. So in types of classes we will see partial class in C Sharp, and then we will see its introduction, its syntax, and after that we'll cover practical example in Visual Studio. So before going to partial class, you should be aware of classes and inheritance. So let's go to our topic. There are mainly four types of classes in C Sharp: abstract class, static class, sealed class, and partial class. So out of these, I have covered abstract class, static class, and sealed class in my previous videos. If you have not gone through that, you can see my previous videos related to these above classes. Today in this video, I'm going to discuss partial class. So what is a partial class? Partial class is a class which is distributed into many .cs files, and at compile time, compiler combines all the parts and treat it as only one class. A class can be made partial class by using the partial keyword in its declaration. Partial class is very useful in the situation where many developers writing the functionality for the same class. So if it is saying that a partial class is a class which is present in .cs files, means in many files we can have the parts of the same class, and different developers can work independently if the project is very bigger. So different functionalities they write in the same class, but the file in which the part will be present will be different. So what will happen? The developers can work independently of each other and write the functionality for the same class. If any part of the partial class has made sealed, the whole class becomes sealed. So here we have to take care of few points, that if any part of the class, suppose there are 5 parts of the same class, which is partial class. So if any part we are making sealed, then the whole class becomes sealed. If any part of the partial class is made abstract, then the whole partial class will become abstract class. All parts of the partial class must be in the same assembly and same namespace. So all parts will be in the same assembly and same namespace. Suppose I am having a namespace A and so it is mandatory that if I am creating any partial class, so all the parts, means that the .cs files in which we are writing should be in the same namespace, and the class also in the namespace, same namespace. Partial class can also contain partial method. The partial method is a method that can have its parts in more than one .cs files of partial class. It is mandatory that one part of partial class should have declaration of partial method and other one will have its optional implementation. So suppose we are having our partial class, and in that partial class we are having partial methods. So the partial class can have general methods also and partial method also. Partial method is a method which is preceded with the keyword partial, so it becomes partial method. So in that case it is saying that its declaration, the declaration of the partial method, is mandatory. Suppose we are not declaring and we are directly implementing a class in two different files. So it will give, suppose one file is having its declaration, and another part is having implementation. So without declaration, we cannot create the partial method in different files. So here declaration is mandatory and its implementation is optional. So if part of partial class can have only declaration, but the partial class may not have its implementation. It is optional. Both declaration and implementation of the partial method must contain the partial keyword, and both will come partial keyword. Both declaration and its implementation will come will have partial keyword. Some important points related to partial methods are discussed here. What are those important points? We'll discuss one by one. Partial method must return void. Partial method can be static method, and partial method can be generic. So it is saying that partial method must return void, means return type of the partial method will always be void, and the partial method can be static method or it can be instance. So we can have a partial method which is static, and we can have a partial method which is instance method. Instance method is a method which we can call by using the object of the class. Partial method can be generic. Partial method can have in or ref but not out parameters. So it is saying that if the partial method having different types of parameters, so the partial method can have ref parameters, which is a ref parameter is a parameter which is preceded with by the ref keyword, or it can have in parameter, but out parameters it cannot have. Partial method are implicitly private methods, so cannot be virtual. These are private methods by default. Now we'll discuss syntax of partial class. So in partial class syntax, first access specifier will come, then partial keyword will come, which is very much mandatory. Without this keyword, we cannot make a class partial. Then class name will come, and before this class keyword also will come, and in that uh, curly braces, and in the curly braces will have variables of the class and methods of the class. Here the example of the partial class is given. So here I have given access specifier is public, then partial keyword, then class keyword is coming, and after that partial example is the name of the class, and this class contains 3 integer variables A, B, C I have declared here, and it is having one method which is general method, which is not a partial method. So this method name of the method is show message, and it is printing first partial. Now we'll see the syntax of the partial method. The partial method syntax will come access specifier. So by default it is private. Then after that partial keyword will come, then return type will come, which is always a void, and the method name will come, and here method body will come in the curly braces. Now we'll see the example of partial class and method in Visual Studio. In Visual Studio, you can see that I have created the project types of classes in C#. In this project, I have created one class. The name of the class is partial example, which is my partial class, which is present in partial example.cs file. Also, the name of the file is also same here. So you can see that I am having public access specifier, then partial keyword, then class keyword, then partial example is the name of the class. It is having two variables int a and b, and it's having one show message method which is printing first partial. On the screen it will print, and the same class is having partial method implementation. Here you can see that I have not given any access specifier, so by default it is private, and we cannot make partial method as public or any other access specifier. This is the partial keyword which is mandatory, and it will always return void, and it is printing here on the screen partial method called. When we call it, this message will be printed on the screen. Now I have created the second part of the partial class, this partial example, in my carchild.cs file. This is my name of the file carchild.cs, and here you can see I'm having my partial class examples. Another part here, in this part I have declared variable C, which is of type integer, and this method is containing the general method sing song, and it will print singer is singing the song on the screen when it will be called. And you can see that here I am having my declaration of partial method. This declaration is mandatory. If we are having implementation of the partial method, so it is mandatory, it should be declared. So in this part of partial class, that is partial example, I have declared this method, and its implementation is present in another part. Here you can see that partial method, this is implementation, and both the part is containing the keyword partial, and it is printing on, it will print partial method called on the screen when it will be called. When I will make this comment, we don't have any errors. Why? Because it is not mandatory. Implementation is not mandatory, so it is not giving any error. But when I will make comment this declaration and I'm using its implementation, it will give me error. You can see here it is showing error is coming because it's not finding its declaration here also, and not also in the another part here, because I have commented. When I will uncomment this, the error will be gone. So this is the implementation of the partial class in Visual Studio. Now I will run this and we'll see the output on the screen. No, before this, first I will go to program.cs. Here in program.cs, I have created the object of the partial class, partial example. Name of the object is partial1, and here you can see that I am calling, by using this object, I am calling partial1.n, and I'm assigning 10 value to a variable. It is accessible to me and it is present in first part. Then then I'm assigning 0 to b, and you can see here I am also able to assign partial1.c, even though it is present in the different file. different code file. First, I will stop the run. So here you can see that in card child, I'm having C, and this method also I'm having here in this second part of the partial example class. So here I'm able to call all the its variables and its method which are present in different .cs files. So compiler is considering this partial as the of two different parts of the partial class as one class which is expected. Now I will run this program and we'll see the output on the screen. When this will be called, its method, its message will be printed on the console. Singer is singing, and partial part or the text present in the this body of it, first partial will be printed. Now I'm running this. You can see on the screen the message is printed, singer is singing the song, and after that first partial. This message is of my sing song method, which is present in one part of partial class, and first partial is the method, is the message of the method which is present in another part of the partial class. So we can say that it is working as expected. Now we'll go to our next slide. Today here we have seen how to create the partial class, its syntax, its practical example in Visual Studio, and also we have covered partial methods. Next topic will be very interesting and it will enhance your knowledge. For more information, I have given the playlist link in the description of this video. So you can go to the playlist and can watch different C# videos. So it will enhance your knowledge. And at last, I want to say, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.